Hi guys, so this morning I'm showing you something I've been sent. It's a water filter, I suppose, a bit like the big brands. I've never seen this anywhere before, but it says it's good. It's even had Philip Schofield on the TV using it, so we'll give it a whirl. Now, I wasn't sure whether genuinely it would be as good as they say it is, so I wanted to do it on video so you can see that I am being genuine. So the ZeroWater Filter, just cutting the seal, and I haven't tried this before, so we will see how it goes. Now, on something on TV, there was Philip Schofield used a glass of red wine and essentially turned it into water using the filter. So I thought, right, we'll give it a try from opening it up so we know whether genuinely it actually is that good. So, get it out of the box. It's all wrapped in plastic as well. If I'd have known that, I'd have done some of this for you before but you can at least see that I haven't filled this with water first or anything, so if it does work, which I'm sceptical, I must say, but if it does work, I'll be impressed. Plastic there. Well wrapped, I'll tell you that much. So, I don't drink red wine, so I haven't bought any red wine for the purpose of this, because that just seems silly to buy red wine just to turn it into water. Okay, so it comes with a tester. And inside we have a big piece of paper telling me the assembly instructions, so we will soon see how to do that. Some random cardboard. Got to have that in these things, haven't you? So, remove the lid and water reservoir from the top picture and remove the filter from packaging. I'm trying to. Right, so we've got the filter. Unscrew the blue protective cap if applicable, which seems to be this bit. Okay, I've got quite a big filter. I wasn't expecting that, if I'm honest. Okay, and then twist the filter into the bottom of the reservoir from below. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. Tighten filter to obtain a complete seal with the reservoir. Do not drop the filter in from above. Oops, sorry. You see, you can tell I haven't practiced this, can't you? But, like I say, when you see it on the telly or in adverts, it's always a bit sort of, you know, have they really genuinely put red wine in it's turned to water? Or there we go, I've screwed that in. Put it in there. And then basically it says pop your water in there and allow it all to dispense before refilling it. Makes sense. So I've got a glass, got a jug with some water, and I've got some Pepsi Max. Because I don't have red wine, Pepsi Max, we'll give it a whirl, see if it can turn that to water. So, we've also got a tester here for water quality. So, it says, let's just check this. Right. Basically, you dip it in and see what it reads. So, I've got my tap water here. Dip that in. Saying 19.8. Not sure what the 19.8 refers to. Is the measure of solids in ppm. Anyway, 19.8 is what we're going with. Right, so we pour that in. Let it filter through. We'll give it a whirl with the water first, see, and see how we get on. I'm hopeful, but, well, we'll see. I'm not. It's one of those things, I think, isn't it? People say, oh, it'll filter it, it'll clean it, but without testing, you don't know. So, while I'm waiting for it to pour my water through, I'll pop some Pepsi Max into the jug so that we can see if it can filter that. Now I quite like my Pepsi Max, so give it a bit more. We'll see how it takes the colour, takes the flavour, or takes the lot out. I'm not convinced, like I say, but I was sent this to review and I've not been paid for it. I've just been sent the item to try out, review and share with you guys. Rather than do a blog post review just on my blog, I thought, actually, let's see if it works in reality. And I thought, if I'm taking photos of it working, you still not believe it, potentially. So I thought, you know what, let's just try it properly and show you how it works. So, looks like all the water's coming through now. Don't know how to, I should have measured it really, and then I'd know when it was when it had all come through. But the worst case scenario, it'll just make the Pepsi Max a bit slightly more watery. But I did only put sort of half a glass in, I think. So let's have a look. So we've got, let's turn this back on, it goes off. So let's have a look. Ah, you see, on the TV it had gone down to 0. It hasn't gone to 0, but it's gone to 0.54, and it was, what was it before, 19.8. So 0.54, so it's definitely took something out of it. Okay. I'm going to give it a taste, see if it tastes any different. Does it taste like water? I can't taste the difference. Maybe somebody else would, who's a bit more of a water fan, because I don't generally drink much water. So just took that water away into a cup I've got over there, just so that I can use that for my Pepsi Max in a second. So it seems to have stopped dripping through. There's a little bit in there, but as you can see, it's only a little bit. I can't see it causing any issue. So here's for the test. Let's see how the Pepsi Max fares. Obviously it's fizzy, so I'm not sure if it's designed to be for fizzy, but we will see. So something's dripping through, which actually looks quite clear, which has surprised me, to be honest. I expected that it might sort of pull some of the colour through, but I'm quite surprised. It looks quite clear, but we'll let it all go through and see how we get on, and then we can see how the TDS tester claims the water is then. So we've had 198 for the tap water, then we had 0.5 something, I can't remember what it was now until I watched the video back, but 0.5 something for the filtered water. So it's still got some Pepsi Max in the top, so we'll just give it some time. It's just going through, and hopefully we'll have water, as that's what it says it does. However, as I like my Pepsi Max, I wouldn't mind if it still tasted like Pepsi Max. So I guess we'll have to give it a whirl, see what happens. And you can see that throughout. I've been completely honest, and you can see exactly what I've done. So this is the ZeroWater water filter. It says it does 12 cups, which, looking at the size of it, yeah, potentially it does. I've not measured it, but I'll go with that. It says 2.8 litre, so yeah, it looks about right to me. I haven't looked how much the actual filter replacements are, but it does say that when you test your water, if it gets to below above a certain level, then you know your filter needs replacing. So that'll give us some idea, but I will look into the price of that before I write the review. So don't forget to have a read of the proper full review on my blog, Just Average Jen, which you can find on www.justaveragejen.com. And I'll write exactly what I thought of this, which some of it you can see now, and the full cost, where you can get it from, and the prices of the filters, because obviously that's quite a big deal, I think, you know. And let's face it, we want to make our water purer, but do we actually really want to turn Pepsi Max into water or wine into water? Not really. So if the water filter itself is expensive, it depends how much you value that clear water, I suppose. So we've still got some Pepsi Max going through, but it doesn't look like it's far from finished. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just pour out what is already through, and then while we test that, we'll be able to see the last bit go through anyway. So, moment of test. Right, there's still a bit of Pepsi Max in the top. So as you can see, it's not completely clear, but it's definitely clearer than you'd get with Pepsi Max. If I just hold this lid behind it, which is white, it might help you see the colour a bit more easily of what's come through. So let's give it a test of how many particles are in it. So the total dissolved solids this measures. So it's going with 0.87. So on that basis, there's less in this than there was in the tap water, but slightly more than there was in the purified water. But actually, given that it's Pepsi Max we've put through, which is full of how many ingredients? Carbonated water, colour, flavourings, sweeteners, acids, preservatives. It's got a long list, you know. So logically, the fact that it's not quite as pure, but let's see how it tastes. Interesting. It tastes kind of like very weak squash. So there is some taste to it that's a bit more than water. A slight sort of sweetness to it, but not overly. I think if I was given that as water, I'd think it tasted funny and not quite right. But if I was given that as Pepsi Max, obviously it's not Pepsi Max, and it doesn't taste like it at all. It just tastes like very slightly sweet water. So I'll just pour the last bit of this in so you can see that it's continued the same way, I think. Yep, I think some of that, it looks a bit darker, but I think it is possibly just because there is more in the glass, because as you hold it up to the wall or something light, it doesn't look too bad. But yes, it's completely lost its fizz, as you can see, and tastes very, very unlike Pepsi Max. So I'm going to pop this back in the filter, see whether it does better going through a second time. if it does take out those last particles and colour as such, but I'm not convinced. So we will see. It's going through relatively quickly, so we don't need to let it all go through just to see, do we? We might as well give it a whirl and see what happens. So a little bit's gone through. Pop it in the glass if there's enough. There we go. Let the rest go through. I'll certainly not be drinking it now anyway. It's going through quite quickly all of a sudden. So this bit that has gone through is reading 069. So yeah, I think it's took a little bit more out, not loads. See how it tastes. Even more like water than the previous one. Not nice, and certainly not like Pepsi Max. So it's done its job to some degree. But there you go. If you're interested in buying one on that basis of seeing it, then it's this ZeroWater water filter. But all the details will be in the review on my blog, Just Average Jen, which I'll pop a link to below. Thank you for watching.